Hi again. I hope you are doing great. Let's get started with HDFS commands. We have been learning about multiple things about what is HDFS, what are the different nodes in HDFS, how do we store the data, how do we read the file from HDFS, and what are the different challenges, and how do we tackle those challenges. We learned multiple things. Now is the time for some action. Before we really get into the HDFS commands, I want to cover a couple of aspects. Okay, let's go and get started in the Cloudera. As I said, Cloudera is one of the distribution where we can have all the components of Hadoop ecosystem, or the majority of the components of the Hadoop ecosystem are installed, and we can start using that. So now one of the very important aspect is whatever the Linux commands which work in Linux system. Some of them, or rather most of them, would work as a HDFS commands as well. Let me iterate. Some of the commands which are in Linux, they do work as the HDFS commands with a slight modification. So what we need to do is we need to prefix HDFS DFS hyphen before those commands. But let us try to understand. For example, now ls is one of the Linux commands. So what will happen is it will list all the files and directories and all those things. Okay. And one more important thing is, let us try to create a directory here. To create a directory, what we do is we use make directory in Linux. So now let's go ahead and make directory. Let us say make directory. Let us think of project big data. Okay, we have a directory called project. Go and see there is a directory called project big data. Now let's go ahead and get into that directory project. Okay, we are in the directory. So we don't have anything there. Now if we create one more directory called learn big data. Okay, we'll have one more directory in this. So these are the some of the commands. To make them work, all I had to do is some of the commands. Prefix them with HDFS DFS hyphen ls, and wherever you want to, you can say HDFS DFS hyphen ls. So I'm just trying to prefix this ls with HDFS DFS. So this will work as a HDFS commands. This is one of the very important aspect which I wanted to tell you. Those who are comfortable with Linux commands, it will be easy for you to get acquainted with the HDFS commands. In case if you are not comfortable, I would strongly suggest you to go through some of the Linux commands, understand how they work, and then come and start practicing the HDFS commands. Let's get started with some of the HDFS commands. One of the command would be, how do we check the version of the Hadoop? Very simple command, Hadoop version. And the syntax is also same. And if you go and say Hadoop version, we'll get to know what is the version of the Hadoop which is installed in this particular system. Let's go ahead and try it out. Okay, you can see here in this particular system, Hadoop 2.6.0 is installed. Okay, this is how we get to know what is the Hadoop version, but latest version is 3.0. So now we'll see the other commands. The next command is, how do you check free space in a particular HDFS destination? That can be done by a command, df command. We'll go and check that. What we are trying to check here is how much of the space is free. That is what we are trying to check here with the df command. You can see to displaying what is the space. It is only 1% is used. Okay, so this is, it will display how much of the space is free. That's what the df command does. Now let us try to understand next set of commands. Next is count. What it does is it counts the number of directories, files, and bytes under whatever the path you specify. Because if you really observe, as I told in the beginning, all the HDFS commands should be prefixed with HDFS DFS. Okay. In case if it is not working, you can say bin / HDFS. Okay, then it will start working. But in our case, HDFS is very much working. We can take it forward. Okay, so this command we are trying to count the number of directories, files, and all those things in a particular directory. Let us go ahead and check this. Okay, so let me go clear this count. So let us say user. You can see these are so many files, directories, and the bytes which are being counted by this particular command. Now the next command is something called fsck. Okay, fsck. What it is doing is it is in a way checking the health of the Hadoop file system. Let us go ahead and check how it works. All we have to say is HDFS fsck. We'll check the health. Okay, you can see some different parameters are displayed here. File system under path is healthy. It will say whether it is healthy or not. Okay, I'm just introducing you to different commands. You may not use these commands very often, but we'll move on to the commands which you will use often. Next, two important commands are ls and make directory. Okay, what does ls do? The similar fashion whatever it does in the local operating system like Linux operating system. Okay, so it is used to list all the files within that particular folder. The way we can do is HDFS DFS -ls, and we have to give the path where exactly we need to see the list of directories. Okay, so in this case, I'm trying to see what are the different things which are existing within the user direct. Let's go and see this. So in this case, instead of just running the ls command as a part of the Linux, I'm running the command as a part of the HDFS. I'll say ls and I'll go and say user. I have all these folders. Within the user folder, I have Dhoni, Jadeja, Admin, Cloudar, Cricket History, Hive, Uzi, Spark, Virat. All these folders are there as a part of the user. Remember, ls, we can run that as a part of the one and Linux, and also I can run that as a part of the HDFS. To run this ls command as a part of the HDFS, I need to just prefix this command with HDFS DFS hyphen. The next command, as we discussed, make directory. I already showed you how to make a directory in Linux. So we already created two folders which are also called as directories. Directories and folders means same thing. So in this case, we created a project big data folder and learning data big folder. So we'll try to create a directory within HDFS. Let us pick up something which is not there here. Okay, so we don't have anything called big data folder here. What we'll do is we'll go and create HDFS DFS and make directory, and I'll say user and I'll say big data. It should create the big data folder here. Okay, it has created. Now let's go and check whether the big data folder is created or not by using a ls command. Yes, you can see this particular folder is created. And now we can go and see what is there inside this particular folder. Okay, as of now, we don't have anything. It should display nothing there, but let us go and check. We never know. There are a lot of aliens. They may come and put some data into that. Let's go ahead and see what's happening here. Data folder. No, there is nothing here. Okay, let's look at the next set of commands. There are a couple of commands. One is touch. It creates an empty file, and cat, it will allow us to see the contents of the file. Whatever the directory what we just created now, let's go and create one file called myfile.txt. Myfile.txt. So now we have a directory called big data folder. Okay, so now nothing is there in this. Now what we can do is, now let's go ahead and use a command called touch and go and create my file text in this particular folder. Yes, it got created. Let us see if there is a file here. It should be there. Okay, we see. And if I want to see what are the contents of this file, all I have to do is have to go and say cat on this. Do we have any contents as a part of this particular file? No, nothing actually. We just created an empty file here. Okay, nothing is there. These are the two important commands. Let us look at the next set of commands. This is one of the very important command. It is copy from local. So here what we do is, as we discussed, we have installed the Hadoop ecosystem as a part of a Linux operating system. So in a a real life scenario, there may be a file in your local file system. You need to move that to HDFS directory. So in order to do that, we have to use a copy from local. This is a command which is not same as that of the Linux command. It is very specific to the HDFS. So how does it work? We have to say HDFS DFS copy from local, and we have to provide local file path. That is the file path of where your file is there, and destination, which is destination folder where you want to copy the file. So let us go and check this in our okay. So now we have a folder, if you really see, called big data folder. Okay, so far within that folder we have only file called myfile.txt. So before that, and we also know that we have created a project big data folder. So now let us go ahead and create one file here, gedit. I'll say file to move to HDFS dot text. We'll try to create this file. We'll say I'm just showing this how to create a file and how to move a file from HDFS from local operating system to the HDFS. But in real life scenario, you would have got a file from some application or from some of the, it may be a Facebook feed, it may be a Twitter feed, or some of the statistical data and all those. In this case, so this is an example for copying a file from local OS to HDFS. Okay, this is the file, and we created this. Where did we create this? We created this file in a folder called project big data. Let's go and check whether it is there or not. Close this guy. Let's close this guy. Okay. So if you can't see, there is a file. So let us try to see whether what is there as a part of this particular file by using a cat command. I'm using the cat command as a part of the Linux. So yeah, there is a, this particular line which we typed is there. Now I want to copy this file from here to the HDFS. HDFS, we have created a folder called big data folder. Now let's go and do this. HDFS DFS. I said copy from local, and the file name is this. In this case, since we are already there in this directory, we need not give the path. Otherwise, we need to give the path as well. And we are copying this file to this particular location, which is already there as a part of HDFS. We just created this particular folder, copying a file from local to this particular folder. This is a folder which is there as a part of HDFS. Let's go and see what is there here. We should have two files. One is a myfile.txt which we created, and also we should have this particular file which we moved from the local operating system into the HDFS.